on CJBQ. 8:15, a frigidly cold Saturday morning, and it's the 6th of January, and right now we are at minus 26, but that wind chill feels more like minus 41. Well, it is a brand new year. We're barely a week in, and of course, there's all kinds of anniversaries, I'm sure, ahead as far as different, in different genres or different parts of entertainment business. One such is one that it's celebrating a 25th anniversary this year. And if you were a kid growing up in the 90s and were a fan of the Power Rangers, well, yes, the Power Rangers are celebrating their 25th year. And a gentleman in our neck of the woods actually is calling in, or I'm calling him in from Brockville this morning, has set up basically a fan website for it. And we're going to find out all about it. And I say good morning to Matt Blake. Good morning, Matt.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
And I guess it's just as cold in Brockville this morning.
Yeah, it is freezing out, so I'm hibernating inside for the day.
All right, well, so tell us, you've set up a website, and it's called the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Fan Realm, and as I mentioned, the show itself, or just the Power Rangers celebrating its 25th year. So that would mean you go back to 1993 for fans, or for actually folks that aren't familiar with the Power Rangers. It started off as a TV cartoon with Japanese origins in 1993, correct? Maybe fill us in on that.
Yeah, so it was a live-action superhero show called Super Sentai in Japan, and then they kind of dubbed it over for the U.S. market, and it aired initially 25 years ago. And it's just amazing because I remember watching it as a kid, and it had giant robot monsters and all these epic battles. And so for a kid who, or just people in general who are into the superhero genre, it was really appealing, and it was a huge hit. Like in the early 90s, Power Rangers merchandise grossed over $1 billion alone in 1 year. And then now, 25 years later, I was out this year, Christmas shopping, and I saw families out buying Power Rangers toys for their kids now. And then there's replicas and legacy toys, which are more catered to adults who like to collect them for nostalgia or display purposes. So it's really amazing that 25 years later, the kids that grew up with it still appreciate it now as adults, and then newer kids are discovering it through the toys and obviously through Netflix. So it's quite amazing, the timeline. And then the other thing that I thought was really fascinating is just talking to other fans on the internet when I started up this site and what the show meant to them. For instance, the actor who played the Red Power Ranger in the show was quoted saying that, kids that grew up with the show are now coming up to him as an adult and saying, the show inspired me to get off drugs, or, my parents died when I was a little kid, and, the show encouraged me to, find strength and carry on. So although it was initially, just a kind of a superhero show for entertainment, the underlying themes of, finding inner strength and overcoming odds obviously really resonated with a lot of fans. And I think that's why 25 years later, Power Rangers is still, being watched on Netflix. It's still being discussed on social media, and it's still selling, toys and merchandise in stores right to this day.
Right, and I guess that's a part of the reason then you've set up this site maybe as a forum for your fans to, to discuss the show and what it means to them.
Absolutely. So the site that I've set up is to celebrate the legacy of the show. I do a really in-depth kind of series review on, why the show is appealing, the different elements that it has, why fans like it. And as you said, the sense of community to bring the fandom together so they can share, with other people who, like the show, what it means to them. And I think that really kind of legitimizes the love for the show when you say, oh, this really meant a lot to me as a kid, or I got into it later as an adult, and then you see other people that kind of share that same enthusiasm. So yeah, it's really wonderful to kind of bring people together, and it has a really, really diverse fan base, all ages and all walks of life, which is really great as well.
Well, that's great. And, of course, last year there was the movie that came out. I was just checking up. It grossed worldwide $142.3 million. So they made money. It was $100 million to produce. So I guess that is a strong indication, at least among fans that are familiar with the movie, that it's still very popular. And I guess fans can go to, obviously, www. Now it's fanrealm.com. Is that correct?
Yeah, so mmprfanrealm.com, and you can check out, it talks all about the history of the show, the impact it has, a series review, and just other information about it. So if you're into superhero genre or cult monster movies or kind of live anime or even just 90s pop culture, you should definitely check it out.
All righty. Well, thank you very much for chatting. And again, folks, if you're a Power Rangers fan, 25th anniversary year, check out the site Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Fan Realm. And thanks for chatting this morning, Matt.
Thanks so much for having me.
Stainless steel appliance.